think about it, I find Donald and Douglas to be some of my favorite characters. You read the title, and trust me, we'll be getting there, but I first want to talk about their book that started it all. The Twin Engines is a rather fun read. Topham ordered a new goods engine and 2 showed up. He wants to know which one is 57646, but in real life they only ever went up to 57645. They mention how their numbers just slipped off when their numbers are usually painted on, and Donald and Douglas know they are not slick. And Topham knows they're lying, he just can't prove which engine he bought. This setup for the book is amazing, and something that's pretty unique to the series. I can't really think of any other Thomas story that had such a thing like this. Of course we had engines that escape from scrap and show up on the railway, but never this level of confusion. I love how Audrey made choosing which engine for Topham to keep really difficult. At first Douglas seems to be the one because he messed up and he didn't take accountability with the coach. But then Donald crashes to a signal box, but then Douglas is working hard and it seems he's going to be the one to keep. But then he destroys the brake fan. Topham's line, "I don't know. I just don't know," is such an effective cliffhanger too. Something I just realized is that how Topham knows that it is Douglas with Donald's tender is the fact that that is Douglas's driver and fireman. He probably just recognized them, and that's how he realized that they were masquerading with Donald's tender. This entire book is so stressful because of the way it was set up. You end up not wanting either of them to be sent home, and by the deputation, all the other engines are on your side. All the engines coming together to make sure they both stay, to then have the reveal that Topham bought both of them after all of these struggles is such a satisfying way to end a wonderful book. The Twin Engines is just a great book and overall a stressful one, and even though The Missing Coach as a story is relatively confusing and like, why do they need to switch their tenders, it's a great book. So when it came to adapting this book into the show, they kinda fumbled. Okay, to clarify, the main reason why they fumbled isn't because the episodes they adapted are bad episodes. It's because they skipped the first 2 stories, and were thrown just right into Breakfan. Their introduction is fast, and Donald immediately crashes into the signal box. Then after the Breakfan is destroyed, Topham doesn't know who to keep. But don't worry, the next episode gets it resolved. We still have tension for these characters, and they made it work without the first 2 stories in the book, but we lack the amount of tension from this story. And also, important details like Douglas being the stowaway. Also, why would it be hard for Topham to choose who to keep? You got one who was stupid and crashed into a signal box, and then you get the one who didn't mean to kill the brake fan. I would say he should send home Donald. Then it's made a little bit more confusing, because we get escape, and they mention scrap to Douglas, but it's confusing because he never mentioned it prior. But with the cut episode Hello Twins, it makes sense because he was the stowaway. And if they just kept it, this would have made this part of the show actually hit. So overall, their introduction was really rushed and weird. But the history of Hello Twins is honestly one that is completely driven by the Thomas and Friends fandom. So let's look into the history of how we even got here in the first place. In the 90s, the Thomas fandom would find a specific image of Douglas that was put into an annual. It's from season 2, but it isn't from any of the episodes. So for years it became a rumor of a lost episode. But, I mean, who would care at the time? For all you know, they might just adapt in the next season. Oh, we're done with adaptations? Because the annual came out in 1996? And we're doing season 5 now? Oh. Years later, the image would be scanned and uploaded in 2008, which made the popularity of a lost episode become a fun subject of speculation. Fans were speculating what this could have been. This all came together in 2008, thanks to an interview by the Soda Island fan site with David Mitton. David Mitton was asked about an, at the time, rumored adaptation of The Missing Coach. He revealed that during production of season 2, that they began production on the episode, confirming that this thing was real. But Britt Allcroft deemed it not worthy of an episode after they shot half of it. Her reasoning being that it was just a confusing story and didn't have much action. This news was pretty cool at the time, and regardless if you agree with Britt Allcroft's decision to cut it or not, this inspired some really interesting fan content, especially when it came to reconstructions. The reconstructions would use this one image we got, and that was spread all around the fandom. For years, it was a fun fact to know and a dream of getting more content from this cut episode. But the fun fact would get overshadowed by other stuff at the time, like the Miller era and the Brenner era. And people had more stuff to worry about and there was more interesting things. I mean, people were wanting stories like Super Rescue get adapted, but in 2019, this topic would gain a brand new light that honestly changed the game forever.
Hello everybody, my name is Nick Starwind, and today we'll be looking at something a little differently compared to usual.
It's important to note that Nick Starwind isn't just a YouTuber who makes videos on Thomas, but Nick Starwind would end up covering this topic for the love of the game, essentially. And this video blew up. Now, a bunch of new fans were aware of this cut episode from Season 2. Thomas was in a dark era, and this finally gave fans something to look back on fondly, and also something to look forward to. Also, with Nick Starwind showing images from the original episode that most fans didn't even know about. It was just so cool. Being a fan in this period of time was so much fun to learn about, especially as a new fan. We went from most people thinking it was just one image to having many, many more, thanks to Japan. 5 months go by, and Nick Starwind drops another video about this episode. It was more of the same, but just expanding on some of the theories of what could have been. But it did reignite the flame for finding this episode, and it was so much fun to theorize what we might have gotten. Some months go by again, and oh, what's this on Twitter? Oh, Sir Robert Norby Twitter account? Oh, that's kind of funny. Wait, what's that? Oh, stills from Cows and the Missing Coach. Wait, what? Huh? We got so many new images from this episode. We could practically piece an edit of this episode together now, and that is exactly what people did. What's kind of crazy is that, like, nowadays you see people drip feeding new Thomas content. Like, the example, the season 5 scripts were not released all at once. They were just, like, put in a live stream. They had to watch pieced together. It was very slow. There was no build up to these, and there was no drip feeding. It was a very unique time. We just got everything all at once. We now knew what the new coach looked like, and it was a boring branch line coach. No way. But now that we have these frames, along with some frames from the other episodes, I gotta know, who leaked this? Ooh, maybe the scripts will be found next. Then we'll know if it was called The Missing Coach or Hello Twins. Now the mystery has shifted from where the episode is to now 3 mysteries. 1, does the footage of this episode still exist? 2, does the script still exist? And 3, who is the leaker? Oh hey, Nick Starwind uploaded another video on the missing coach. I wonder if this will be answered. Nick Starwind went over the images in the leak. Also, Nick Starwind revealed that Nick Starwind had these stills and tried to release them without backstabbing the people who gave them these images in the first place. People were now making edits using these images. But where's the script? We still don't have it. Well, we didn't even have to wait that long. Oh cool, it's April of 2022 and Nick Starwind uploaded another missing coach video.
Hello everybody, my name is Nick Starwind, and I am the original leaker.
Yeah, honestly, this was Fork Found in Kitchen level of shock. But it was cool knowing how it got to this, and how the Soda Island fan site, which was the whole reason the saga even began, was one of the biggest hoarders of behind-the-scenes Thomas and Tug's media. Seeing how Nick Starwind would leak it to the public was rather interesting to experience, too. That is one mystery solved. We know who the leaker is. But what about the other 2? Well, in December of 2022, we would finally get the visual and dialogue scripts for the episode. Then, in 2025, when Sally Britt Allcroft passed away and the auction started, we would get some Season 2 scripts bought by a user on screen. And one of those scripts was the narration scripts for Hello Twins. So now we have the visual, the dialogue, and the narration script. We have the stills. We know who the leaker is. We have basically all of this information except for the footage that wasn't already used in Breakfan. Honestly, this is better than nothing. And with the reveal of the new script, and using the stills we have along the way, and some of the narration from Michael Angelis, I can confidently say, while not perfect, I have made probably the most faithful way to experience this cut episode. Now, I don't want to come off as I'm the only one who could do anything of this level to make an edit of an episode. Pretty much anyone can, so if you don't like mine, you can just make your own, really. But I think it is so cool that we can even do this as fans. Watching these episodes with Hello Twins as the start of an arc makes it so much better. Let me go over what we got through the script. So we got an introduction. Topham's like, oh, I bought a new engine, a goods engine, it'll be coming soon. And then he gets 2. And then it's confusing. And then we get the missing coach introduction. Thomas is like, bro, where's my coaches at? And then Douglas accidentally puts one away. Topham finds out it's Douglas and not Donald. Then we get to Breakfan, which is a little weird watching because It introduces us like we've never met Donald and Douglas before, but also it isn't terribly uncommon for Tom's episodes to recap what previously happened in other episodes, so it kind of works. After Donald crashes into the signal box, Douglas breaks the brake van, then we get to the deputation, where they are saved. With that added tension from the first episode, this arc feels so much more complete. And while yes, the one I'm using has Sleepy Angela's narration and is not using probably the best stock footage I could have possibly done because I wanted to keep it strictly season 2, it is still a great way to experience this cut episode. And honestly, I feel you're missing out if you don't at least try to watch this episode with the other two. It's just such a good watch, and I am so glad that the fandom has come together, fighting amongst ourselves, to just get this out to the public. The search for Hello Twins is still ongoing. This hunt, I imagine, will continue, and I'm sure we will end up seeing more from this cut episode, considering how they had the freaking pilot. Go watch this episode on my I Need More Diana Star content, very creative name I know, or whatever Hello Twins / Missing Coach episode edit you want to watch. It truthfully doesn't have to be mine, and fully experience the Donald and Douglas arc as originally intended.